went to TJ's Model Trains. As you can tell, I changed my name from TJ's Toy Trains to TJ's Model Trains. I figured it was kind of needed with how big I've gotten into weathering, fixed pilots, Katie's, and eventually going to 2Rail. Figured more models, less toys now, so that's why I changed the name. But I know it's been a long time since I've done a video. It's been about 5 months. Just got into the busy season for me with my business and just didn't really have the time to devote to the trains as far as a video goes. And then recently, I had a good friend of mine, Tom, 3RailTom, came into town for a few days. So I was cranking out some work on the layout. I actually did do my final rendition, if you will, of this layout, as it will be torn down within the next year. So did some work on it, did some things that I always wanted to do with this layout, like build a tunnel. That'll be shown off more in a future video. But this video, I just wanted to talk about the things that Tom and I did while he was in town this past weekend. So we actually came into town last Thursday evening. Flight got a little bit delayed, but seems to be typical. Got in, had some dinner, ran some trains that evening. He actually brought the Dash 8 that he had weathered bag. We wanted to do kind of like a little competition, if you will, see what we thought of each of our weathering. And both of those engines were actually purchased in the last 5 months, and we got them off trains.com. Really cool about trains is sometimes some hard to find items pop up, like 2Rail NS engines, and believe it or not, those things were mint in the box. So if you're ever on trains and you're looking for something, don't forget to use code TJTX. You get $10 off 50 or more at checkout. You can also use my affiliate link, trains.com/TJTX. But, you know, had a good time with him running those engines. Obviously, I have a plethora of Atlas tank cars. Some I have weathered, some have Katie's, some are in the queue waiting to get weathered and have Katie's put on them. But we had a good time running those. And then on Friday morning, we got up and I had to take them up to the Transportation Museum. Had to coordinate some tours with my grandparents. One of the cars they've done a lot of work on, and some of the things that have been, I guess some of my grandfather's legacy was this one car called the Survivor. If you're ever in the, ever at the Transportation Museum, I highly suggest at least being able to see the car. It's not always open for tours, but if you're ever there and you do get the opportunity to see it in a tour, it's amazing. The gentleman that owned it was one of the very first SEAL teams, and I think they were called Frogmen at that point. And the people that he met and had pictures taken with are all over the wall of the cars. I mean, anywhere from Mickey Mantle, Newt Gingrich, Bill Cosby, JFK. I mean, it's just the list of celebrities and famous people over the last 75 years is just insane. And then we checked out my grandparents' old NRHS car, the Pine Tree State, let Tom be able to see that, and then had to hook him up with a cab ride around the site. And we got to ride in the N.W. Jeep 9. Obviously, that was pretty cool. You know, why not toss around a cab ride when one of your friends in town? So we got him in there, got to ride around the site. Then we hit a couple train stores, went up to Mike's Trains in Thomasville, got a few little odds and ends there. And then we had a lack of judgment and stopped by the Lionel store. And as you know, I'm pretty much an MTH guy, same as Tom. But we had a lack of judgment and came home with something. And it's a little big, a little crazy, a little ostentatious. And then I may or may not have gone back the second day and picked something else up. But, you know, those are what it is. But pretty interesting thing, something you don't get to see on. And then we went over to my dad's house, had some pizza and beer, hung out. And my dad actually just finished building the AC&W train, but the second set of cars the last set of the cars didn't come in time for Tom to see them. They actually showed up the following Tuesday. So sometimes it's just how the postal system works. And then on Saturday, we went over to the Sullenberger Aviation Museum here in Charlotte at the airport. And in there is the main display is U.S. Air Flight 1549 Miracle on the Hudson, as they call it. It was the U.S. Airways flight that landed in the Hudson River back in 2009. That plane is the mainstay there, and a lot of other really cool stuff. There's an F-14 in there, some Cobras, a Huey. The museum actually just opened this new part in this new hangar within the last couple of weeks, so we were some of the very first people to be in there, which was pretty cool. And Saturday we just kind of hung out, did a little bit of train chasing, caught a couple trains, and believe it or not, saw something that neither of us had ever seen in person, which was Atlas just made them from the MTH tooling was the depressed flat cars with the generator on it. And believe it or not, we saw one sitting in Charlotte Yard and then saw the train go through. So we immediately, just us being us, we immediately had to buy them because we have this weird thing of if you buy one, I'll buy one. So we got those, and then we went to a Charlotte's Knights baseball game, and the wife came along, and it was brutally hot. I mean, the humidity and the sun coming off the buildings, it just was brutal. We only stayed till the bottom of the 7th, and then we got out of there. And then just hung out, ran trains, and, shot the breeze for a while, and Saturday morning got up, stopped by my dad so we could run the big boys again, and then Tom, unfortunately, was at the airport for, I think it was close to 8 hours trying to get home. But overall, it was a good trip. It's always good to have a good friend in town, and I'll hopefully be back down there in September to hang out with Zach and Tom and all the rest of the Florida guys. But, that was just kind of my, weekend in review. I do think that I kind of want to do a layout update video, show off the mountain, the new track work. I got some projects that I just finished up, so we'll definitely get to that. But I hope you guys have a good weekend or having a good weekend, and we'll see you around the next time.